Hey YouTube, Sandy Frank here. This week's episode of Hobby Talk, I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about this week. That's basically what I always do with Hobby Talk. We're talking about things that I've been thinking about, and I've seen some chatter out there and people saying that Sorcery is the next Metazoo. So, and what do I think of that? Metazoo. Let's first, if you hear that statement, you're like, what does that mean? Well, Metazoo, when it came out, there was a lot of hype. It was a Kickstarter game, had tons of hype. The creator of Metazoo and the company that made Metazoo was very into hyping up the product and marketing it, and it actually kind of blew up and became viewed as investable. And the box prices went really crazy, promos everywhere you look, and eventually they overpaced themselves, started believing their own hype that that they were going to the moon. They even put cards in a set that actually went to outer space. It was crazy. The story of Metazoo needs to be a movie. And they outpaced themselves, way overprinted, and then completely collapsed, went bankrupt, and at this point, the company is now sold to a new company, and there is maybe just a little bit of a heartbeat. We'll do another video someday about does Metazoo have a future now that it's been sold. But yes, Metazoo, the classic COVID boom, TCG, just pumped and dumped. If you look in the online dictionary, go to onlinedictionary.com and look up the definition of pump and dump. You'll have a picture of Metazoo there. You probably have Mothman there. It was a wild ride, and I think some people made some money, some people lost a lot of money, but it was all based on hype. And I think there's some slight similarities between Sorcery Contested Realm and Metazoo that people say, oh, well, Sorcery is just the next Metazoo. Well, here's the story of Sorcery. Sorcery, they also started as a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter was much more successful than the Metazoo Kickstarter, but there wasn't the big hype after Sorcery came out. In fact, they've kept things very low key. They do make a few promos, not like a Metazoo where they're just pumping out promos and making rugs, making skateboards, and all that kind of stuff. Sorcery, they do some card promos, but I really haven't heard of like much else in the way of promos. They're trying to grow organically, but one other thing that was similar to Metazoo that is associated with Sorcery is it seemed like a lot of people that are investor types kind of caught on to Sorcery and bought a bunch of boxes to hoard, to put away, thinking, oh, if Sorcery becomes a big game, these boxes are going to be worth a lot of money. And it hasn't collapsed the price of Sorcery, but you can tell the actual demand for people wanting to play the game is not as high as the print run. And at some point, this is going to cause Sorcery boxes to drop down in value. And will that cause a panic of these jittery investors where Sorcery boxes could plummet? And if people were just buying a bunch of boxes to put away and not open, thinking that they're going to be worth a lot of money someday, did that cause like an inflated print run on some of these sets? like the beta run, maybe Arthurian Legends. It's been interesting. I've been watching the Sorcery prices. Now, Sorcery Alpha has been very solid. It's gone up pretty rapidly in price, and it is kind of it's definitely been steady or slightly declining over the last year, but still a very expensive box. The beta boxes, they got many print runs, differing. There's like a summer beta run that has a little bit of a different feel to it than the early beta runs, and it kind of got printed to demand more, but it seemed like they made a bunch of it. Now, the beta boxes, if they have been printed to demand, the box prices are still above manufacturer MSRP. You can go on TCG Play right now, get you a beta box. I think it was around $175 a box, which is they were basically, their MSRP was around $150. So the beta set has actually held up very well, and I actually went and cracked one of my beta boxes just because I wanted to open some stuff, and I have a few of those, and the box was insanely fun. I forgot how fun it is to open Sorcery beta. It hit some really nice cards. The set is so big, you still feel like you're pulling new cards that you haven't seen before. It's a great set. Arthurian Legends, as beautiful as the cards are, there are some detractors out there. And one detraction is that the unique cards are not really unique. And there's a bunch of cards in that set that are not printed to the same rarity as a unique. And that is causing some controversies and some people to be upset. You can definitely see in the card prices, pretty obvious which ones are truly unique and which ones are only unique in name only because they just want you to have one of those cards in your deck, but are easy to pull. And I've opened opened 3 boxes now. You'll see videos of these box openings, and there's several uniques that I've pulled several times, so they're not that unique. And the set is small, but we did a Hobby Talk video, or a Friday Fun video, talking about Sorcery last week, about how are the curios, are they too tough to pull? And the curios are beautiful. Some of the most beautiful TCG cards ever made, but man, they are tough to pull. And is that causing a lot of boxes to get open looking for the curios? And when you have a lot of boxes open, the singles prices completely collapse. Who knows? Sorcery's been interesting. But the question of the whole video is Sorcery the next Metazoo? Now, you have to look at the games. What are the pros of Metazoo? What I think the pros of Metazoo are, the cards are pretty cool, interesting subject matter. Like a set like this, the Nightfall set, you can get incredible secret rare cards that are pretty much always going to hold really good value. I'm just a fan. I will still do some more of card-to-card episodes. They're always about Metazoo cards. It's such interesting subject matter of the cards. So, as people that enjoy cryptids discover this game, it's always going to live on, I think, even though the game is kind of dead at this point. And who knows? It might have a slight resurrection with the company being sold. Who knows what the future of Metazoo is going to be? But those are some of the positives. They have, you can get serialized cards, some fun chases. The pack openings are pretty fun to do. But there's a lot of negative things, like way overprinted on several sets. The box prices they did not hold up, which could be a positive right now. You can get some of the boxes pretty cheap, even though they have rebounded a little bit in price. Another negative is the company was terrible customer service. They didn't care about their customers. They were just a pump and dump company, basically. Just doing any kind of promo they could possibly do to sell plushies, to sell skateboards, sell rugs, sell pins, all kinds of stuff. Just insane marketing. I mean, if they would have spent half the time making the game a good game to play as they did their marketing, it might have had a better shot. But it was just a cash grab, pretty clearly, but with a really interesting, cool subject matter, I think, that will make it last as far as people having fans of that game. So lots of negatives. The gameplay apparently is awful, from what I've heard. I've never played either one of these games, but just by judging what people say about the gameplay is not good. And then you have Sorcery, which is the positives of Sorcery is the art is second to none. Fantastic art of the cards. It has a really pretty fun chase element to opening packs. I always find opening Sorcery packs very fun, looking for those foils, unique cards. I mean, you have they are really tough to find, but they are in the boxes, the curios. And they don't even tell you what the curios are. It kind of gets discovered, organically. Some people will discover, ooh, this is a curio. They don't put out a list of curio cards. Apparently the gameplay is fantastic. One of the funnest TCGs to play. I actually think this is a positive and a negative. They don't put out set after set after set. They will take their time, do a set, get the art all, top notch. They commission the art for the game. That takes time, and their pace is about one set a year, which is way less than any other TCG. Which I like that because I'm not playing the game. I like to kind of follow along with TCGs, and that pace to me is great. I don't like having to, should I buy this set? Like every month or two, a new set's coming out in Magic or Pokemon, One Piece, Lorcana. Those are the big name games, but they come out with set after set after set very quickly. And it keeps them also in the public eye a lot more than a game that just comes out with one set a year. Looking at the negatives of Sorcery, the curios are very tough to pull. It seems like it's a slow burn of a game in the fact that you're only getting one set a year. So it kind of like people play the game and then it kind of falls out of mind until the next set comes out. Because when Arthurian Legends came out, it came out with a lot of hype. Now, I think the second set is beautiful and all that, but being a smaller set, it's kind of a step down, honestly, from beta. And you couple that with being the next set not coming out for a year, it might be a cold little wait there for Sorcery to the next set. Will Sorcery survive these in between periods of sets? Another interesting thing is from what I understand, is they are not doing a reprint of Arthurian Legends. So, will card shops have any sorcery on their shelves at once? Like their Arthurian Legends sell out, they won't. Will they not have any sorcery for a year? I mean, that's crazy for game stores. It might even be a thing where game stores like, you know what, we'll concentrate on other stuff. So, despite the game being apparently super fun to play, will it just drop out of the game player repertoire just because it takes so long for sets to come out? I think when you look at the games side by side, they have some similarities, but totally different. And they could each not be around. I mean, we already know Metazoo's dead, officially dead, but it could come back. Where do I see Sorcery in 5 years? I think the company is not trying to outpace themselves and will survive, but it doesn't seem like the game is growing very much, especially with this pace that they're bringing out sets. Because when it comes down to it, a TCG, their lifeblood is players, not necessarily collectors. There's tons of collectors of Sorcery, I think. I mean, not like a Magic or Pokemon or something like that. But a lot of the people that buy the boxes are like me, that I love the cards. I collect the cards, not because I'm playing the game. And that is a dangerous situation for a TCG. So, my recommendations. I think if you just buy boxes because you like TCGs and enjoy opening packs, I think either one is great, because Metazoo, let's face it, it's extremely cheap if you're getting in now. And the card packs are very fun, very interesting cards. The game, if you're wanting to play a game, it probably won't be a game you enjoy playing. Is what I mean. Some people do, but you might not. But as far as like people like me that enjoy TCGs and like looking at the cards, Metazoo's not bad right now at the price point. Do I think 5 years from now that it'll be worth more? Who knows what will happen because of the new ownership? What are they going to do with the game? I think it was way overprinted, so there's always going to be tons of boxes out there on certain sets. Sorcery, it's a little expensive for TCG games, so there could be a drop down in price, especially in Arthurian Legends, as if the print run was really big, I think there could be a drop down. The price has actually been pretty stable. Dropped down. It started off about $125 MSRP. It dropped down to like $115. In fact, I can get me one box if I want for $116, shipped to my door, which I'm thinking about doing because I want to have I have 8 boxes of beta and I want to get an 8th box of Sorcery, just to put away. Just for rainy day, if I like maybe a few years from now, I may, with grandkids or kids, later on down the road, we'll have some fun opening the cards. But 5 years from now, Sorcery could be dead and gone, and could have been a 2 sets or 3 sets and disappeared. But I think the gameplay is what's going to keep that game alive, like even after its potential death someday, because the gameplay is super fun. And I respect that about Sorcery, because that's, when it comes down to a TCG, if your gameplay is strong, it can be kept alive as almost like a board game. Like, board games don't get the kind of crazy collectability and hype like TCGs do, but board games do just fine over time. And maybe that is, maybe that was the whole point of Sorcery in their whole vision all along, was keep it small, keep it interesting, and you know, grow a small fan base that enjoys the game, and don't get ahead of yourself. That's what I think is Sorcery's best path to being around for 5 years. Metazoo's path was unsustainable. They died, but I could see this new company doing something with it, and maybe there's still a Metazoo around in 5 years. But it's just not going to be anything close to what the old Metazoo was. All right, thank you for watching. Put down your comments, guys. What do you guys think when people say, "Oh, Sorcery's the next Metazoo"? Do you think there are similarities there? Do you think it's just totally two different things, and they just happen to have some things in common? Where do you see these games 5 years from now? And where do you like? You know, it's always interesting to speculate about box prices. Where do you think box prices will be? I'll do that. 5 years from now, I think Metazoo boxes will be a little bit more expensive just because they're so low. And 5 years from now, I think Sorcery, I think they will have a slowly growing player base. And I actually think both these boxes 5 years from now will be worth more than they are today. But I also think there's only going to be, 5 years from now, there'll be 5 sets of Sorcery. There's not going to be 20 sets. Metazoo, I think there'll be a new type of Metazoo game. Maybe they go and, because they have all the artwork and all the rights to make the War set and Legacy. I think those were 2 sets that were in the works. Like, I think Legacy was pretty much done, except they just weren't able to print it. I think those sets will come out with the new ownership, but I think they'll probably totally go to the chalkboard and revamp the game, and it'll be totally different than what we know today as Metazoo. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. That's why I love TCGs, because they're very fascinating. All right, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos later.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.